I didn't expect to see them again, especially not in a courtroom. A year ago, they were just two young parents trying to figure things out with a newborn. When I first met them through our department, they seemed overwhelmed but harmless. Today they looked different, tense, pale, and avoiding eye contact with everyone. They sat at the defendant's table, whispering quietly, holding hands like they were trying to convince themselves that everything would be fine. I stood beside our agency attorney while the judge reviewed the hospital records. "This case concerns potential endangerment of a minor," the judge said. "We are here to determine whether temporary restriction of parental rights is justified." Our social worker, Ms. Flores, stepped forward. "Your Honor, the infant was taken to the hospital with significant facial swelling," she said. "Doctors believe it may have been caused by body paint applied to the child's skin." The judge looked up, confused. "Body paint? On a 5-month-old? Ms. Flores nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. Blue body paint." The judge turned to the young couple. "Is that accurate?" The mother, Christina, kept her eyes on the floor. Her partner, Alex, tried to speak calmly. "We're content creators, Your Honor. We run a comedy page. Our audience thinks our son is an alien. It's a theme we created. Sometimes we do photo shoots with paint. It's just for entertainment." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Entertainment at the expense of your child's health?" Christina finally spoke. "We didn't know it could hurt him. We always thought it was safe." But Ms. Flores continued, "Doctors believe this wasn't the first time. They suspect a cumulative reaction from repeated exposure." The couple exchanged a quick, worried look. Christina's voice shook a little. "We never wanted to harm him. We just didn't understand the risks." The judge leaned back. "All right, let's go through everything step by step." And that's when I realized this wasn't just about a medical reaction. It was about whether these two young parents understood what it meant to take care of a child. When the judge asked us to proceed, Ms. Flores opened another file and handed it to him. "These are the photos taken when the child arrived at the hospital," she said. "You can see traces of blue pigment on his scalp and neck." The judge studied the images for a moment. His expression didn't change, but the atmosphere in the room shifted. Everyone could tell he wasn't satisfied with what he saw. He looked back at Alex and Christina. "Explain to me what happened on the day the child was taken to the hospital." Alex cleared his throat. "It was just a photo shoot. We were making a video about our little alien learning about Earth. We used the same paint as before. We thought it was harmless." The judge interrupted. "Did you verify whether the paint was safe for infants?" Silence. Alex shook his head. "We tested it on ourselves first. Nothing happened. We assumed it was fine." Christina quickly added, "We didn't use much. We just wanted to make the video fun for our followers. We didn't expect a reaction." The judge folded his hands. "What did you do when you noticed the swelling?" Christina swallowed. "He started crying. His eyes got puffy. We couldn't calm him down, so we called an ambulance." Ms. Flores stepped in. "Your Honor, the medical team reported that the child had difficulty swallowing due to swelling. It was categorized as a severe allergic reaction." The young mother covered her mouth with her hand, clearly reliving the moment. Alex tried to defend them. "We love our son. We take care of him. It was an accident." The judge looked at them both. "Accidents happen," he said. "But children this young rely entirely on their parents' judgment. This wasn't an accident caused by circumstance. This was a decision you made." The room fell quiet. Then the judge asked, "Do you currently have stable income?" Alex straightened up. "Yes, we make money from our content. Sometimes up to the equivalent of $5,000 or $6,000 a month." Ms. Flores raised an eyebrow. "But when asked for financial documentation," she said, "your tax report showed 0 declared income." Alex shifted uncomfortably. "We're still figuring out how to file everything officially." The judge closed his folder. "Let's continue," he said. "We need a full picture of your living situation and your ability to care for this child." And at that moment, I understood that this hearing was going to dig much deeper than they expected. Judge Carter asked us to move on to the next part of the evaluation, so Ms. Flores opened another folder with her notes. Your Honor, she said. After the hospital notified us, we conducted a home visit at the Miller's apartment. I remembered that visit clearly. I was there with her. Their place was a small rental unit on the east side of town. Nothing fancy, but not the worst I'd seen. When we arrived, Alex tried to make the apartment look presentable, picking up clothes from the floor as we stepped in. Christina held Liam close to her chest, as if she was afraid we might take him immediately. The judge looked at us. Describe the conditions. Miss Flores glanced at me, giving me permission to speak. I stepped forward. The apartment was cluttered, Your Honor. Not unsafe, but disorganized. There were open containers of baby food sitting on the counter, some of them unrefrigerated. Christina lowered her head. Judge Carter looked at her directly. Why wasn't the baby food stored properly? She hesitated. I fed him in the morning. I thought it would still be okay for later. It just slipped my mind. Alex tried to step in. We're not neglecting him, Your Honor. We're still getting used to routines. The judge nodded slowly. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. Go on. I continued. There were also multiple props used for their online videos, tripods, lights, boxes of costume materials. Most of it was harmless, but some items were within the baby's reach. Alex tightened his jaw. That's from our work, he said. We film at home because we can't afford studio space yet. Judge Carter tapped his pen on the desk. Work equipment is understandable, but with an infant, safety has to come before content. Then he turned to Ms. Flores. Did you speak with any third-party caregivers? Yes, Your Honor, she answered. The Millers stated they hired a babysitter several times a week. Judge Carter raised a brow. You interviewed her? Yes, she said. Her name is Amanda Brooks. That was true. Amanda was in her early 30s, experienced, and surprisingly neutral in her assessment. Ms. Flores continued. She reported that the child appears physically healthy and generally calm. She didn't observe any signs of intentional harm. Christina seemed relieved for a moment, but then Judge Carter asked, Did she mention the paint? Ms. Flores nodded. She confirmed she had seen the parents use it once. She assumed it was for harmless photos and didn't know about the hospital incident until afterward. Alex leaned forward anxiously. She knows we're good parents. She told you that. Ms. Flores didn't argue. She said you love your son, she replied. But love doesn't replace judgment. The judge looked at the two young parents again, then at me. I want to understand something, he said. In your assessment, Mr. Hayes, did the Millers appear reckless or simply inexperienced? That was the moment everyone turned toward me. I took a breath. In my line of work, what I said next mattered, not just for the case, but for that child's future. Judge Carter waited for my answer. Everyone else, Christina, Alex, the attorneys, froze. What I said next would shape the direction of this entire hearing. Cleared my throat. In my assessment, Your Honor, the Millers aren't malicious. They're inexperienced, overwhelmed, and not fully aware of the consequences of their decisions. Christina wiped her eyes. Alex squeezed her shoulder. But, I continued, their lack of awareness created a dangerous situation for their son. They didn't intend harm, but intent doesn't erase impact. The judge nodded. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. He shifted in his chair and looked at the Millers again. Tell me about your online content. What exactly do you post? Alex straightened up, as if he had rehearsed this explanation. We run a humor channel called Alien Parents. The idea is that Liam is an alien baby adjusting to Earth. It's all for fun. People love it. Christina added softly, we make little episodes, skits, photos. It helps us earn money. The judge didn't react. And how do you use your son in these videos? Christina looked at the floor. He's part of the theme. We dress him up, add effects, sometimes paint. Ms. Flores interjected. Your Honor, their social media shows polls where followers choose the baby's alien name. They also have posts describing him as adapting to earthly conditions. Some of it is clearly fictional, but it encourages using the child as a prop. Alex pushed back immediately. It's acting. People know it's a joke. The judge leaned forward. But does your son know it's a joke? He's 5 months old. He can't consent. He can't understand. All he knows is what is done to him. That hit harder than anything said so far. Christina's voice cracked. We just wanted to make our videos different. Everyone else posts perfect families, perfect houses. We wanted something creative. The judge remained firm. Creativity is not the issue. Safety is. He looked at the documents again. Tell me about your income, he said. You claim to make the equivalent of $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Yet your tax reports show 0 declared earnings. Alex swallowed hard. We're still learning how to file everything legally. Ms. Flores lifted her notes. They also stated that they're full-time bloggers. Neither parent has traditional employment. The judge set down his pen. I'm not criticizing your line of work. Many people make money online. But when you say you earn thousands without documentation, it raises questions. Especially when a child's welfare is involved. Christina's voice trembled. We're doing our best. We love him. We feed him, we play with him, we hired a babysitter because we wanted help. Judge Carter turned his attention to me again. Mr. Hayes, during the home visit, did you observe anything that suggested chronic neglect? I shook my head. No, Your Honor. The apartment was messy but not hazardous. The child was clean, fed, and responsive. The primary concern was the use of paint and the parents' understanding of risk. The room grew quiet. Judge Carter closed the file. Very well. Amanda Brooks, the Millers' babysitter, stepped into the courtroom when the judge called her name. She looked calm, dressed neatly, and far more collected than Christina and Alex. I had interviewed her before, so I knew she wasn't the type to exaggerate. The bailiff swore her in, and she took the stand. Judge Carter folded his hands. Ms. Brooks, how often do you care for the Millers' child? She answered confidently, about 2 to 3 times a week, depending on their filming schedule. And what are your observations regarding the child's condition when you are present? He seems healthy, Amanda said. He smiles, reacts well, eats normally. I've never seen any bruises or signs of abuse. Christina exhaled quietly, as if she'd been holding her breath. The judge continued, Have you observed the parents interacting with the child? Yes, Amanda replied. They're affectionate. They hold him, talk to him, play with him. They're young, but they try. Alex whispered, Thank you, under his breath. But Judge Carter wasn't finished. Ms. Brooks, have you seen them use any type of paint or materials on the child? Amanda hesitated just for a moment, but long enough for everyone in the room to notice. Yes, she finally said. One time, I thought it was just harmless body paint for photos. I didn't know about the hospital incident until after it happened. Christina wiped her eyes. Alex lowered his head. The judge leaned forward. Did the paint seem safe to you? I'm not a medical expert, Amanda replied. But it didn't look dangerous at the time. I assumed they had checked it first. The judge noted something down. And what about the overall home environment? Was it safe for an infant? Amanda chose her words carefully. The apartment is messy. Not dirty, but cluttered. A lot of equipment everywhere. Cameras, tripods, cables, costume boxes. Alex tried to explain. That's our work. We need that stuff. But the judge cut him off gently. Let her finish. Amanda continued. I've never seen anything that poses immediate danger. But I did notice the baby food sitting out more than once. And sometimes they get so caught up in filming that they lose track of time. The courtroom grew quiet. Judge Carter looked at her directly. In your honest opinion, Ms. Brooks, do you believe the Millers intentionally neglect their child? Amanda shook her head immediately. No, not intentionally. They love their son. They're just inexperienced, and they don't always think things through. Christina whispered, We're trying. but her voice broke. The judge closed Amanda's file. "Thank you. You may step down." As Amanda left the stand, I could see both relief and fear in the Millers' faces. Her testimony helped them, but it also confirmed everything the hospital and our agency had reported. Judge Carter took a slow breath. "We will now assess whether the parents' actions constitute ongoing risk or an isolated mistake." And just like that, the entire room felt tense again. We were getting close to the decision, and nobody knew which way it would go. After the babysitter stepped down, Judge Carter looked over the courtroom, then focused on me again. "Mr. Hayes," he said, "we've covered the medical incident, the home conditions, and the parents' work. I want your professional opinion on one more thing. Do the Millers understand the gravity of what happened?" That was the hardest question so far. I took a moment before answering. "I believe they understand it now," I said. "But at the time of the incident, no. They were focused on creating content, on building their online presence. They didn't fully grasp that what they were doing could be harmful." Christina looked down, and Alex squeezed her hand again. The judge leaned back. "Parents are allowed to make mistakes," he said, "but some mistakes carry consequences." Then he turned directly to Christina and Alex. "I need to hear from both of you. Not excuses, not about being young or about social media or about trends. I want you to explain what you've learned from this situation." Christina spoke first. Her voice was quiet but clearer than before. "I learned that being a parent means thinking about everything we do before we do it, not after. I thought our videos were harmless. I thought if everyone online laughed, that meant it was okay. But it wasn't okay. Not if it put Liam at risk." Alex followed. "I didn't take it seriously enough. I should have checked the paint. I should have checked everything. We were focused on our channel. We wanted to grow it. We didn't think something bad could happen." Judge Carter didn't interrupt, he let them talk. Christina wiped her eyes and continued. "When he started swelling, I was terrified. I kept thinking I caused it. That's something I won't forget." Alex nodded. "We love him. We weren't trying to treat him like a prop. But I get now that even if we didn't mean to, we crossed a line." The judge tapped his pen thoughtfully. "Intent matters in criminal cases," he said. "But when we're talking about children, results matter more. Your son ended up in a hospital because of your decision, not because of bad luck." The courtroom stayed quiet. He turned to Ms. Flores. "Has the child fully recovered?" "Yes, Your Honor," she replied. "There are no lasting complications. He responded well to treatment." That seemed to matter to the judge. He faced Christina and Alex again. "This case is not about punishing you," he said. "It's about assessing whether your child is safe in your care. I don't doubt that you love him, but love without judgment can still lead to harm." Christina's voice broke. "We will do better. We're willing to take classes, meet with counselors, follow any guidelines. We'll stop using him in videos. We just want our son home." Alex nodded quickly. "We already deleted the paint videos. We won't film him like that again." Judge Carter didn't respond immediately. He looked down at the file, then at me, then at Ms. Flores. We all knew we were reaching the turning point. The moment where the judge would decide if this was simple inexperience, or if the parents were truly unfit. And none of us knew which direction he was leaning. Judge Carter closed the case file and rested his hands on the desk. The room became silent in a way that felt heavier than anything before. Even the Millers stopped fidgeting. Everyone waited. "Before I make any decision," the judge said, "I want to understand the future you envision for your child." He looked at Christina first. "What does responsible parenting look like for you now?" Christina wiped her face with a tissue and spoke carefully. "It means putting Liam first. Not our videos. Not our audience. Not content. Him. It means checking everything we use, talking to professionals, and asking for help when we don't know something. I didn't do that before, but I will now." Then he turned to Alex. "And you?" Alex took a breath. "It means stability, structure, less chaos. I want to turn our content into something that doesn't involve him at all." We rushed into parenthood and into this online career at the same time. It was too much. But we're ready to change. Judge Carter nodded but didn't look convinced just yet. Then he addressed Ms. Flores. Do you believe the Millers can provide a safe environment with supervision? Ms. Flores didn't rush her answer. With the right conditions, yes, she said. But not without oversight. They need parenting classes, regular check-ins, and clear boundaries regarding the child's involvement in any online content. The judge turned to me. And you, Mr. Hayes? Same question. I answered honestly. I think they can improve, Your Honor. They've shown remorse. They've taken steps already. But they're easily distracted by their online work. As long as supervision is in place, I believe the child can remain with them. Christina's shoulders shook. Alex squeezed her hand like he was afraid she'd fall apart. The judge leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling for a moment, the way judges do when they're weighing consequences for real families, not just processing paperwork. Then he spoke. I've seen parents who didn't care at all. I've seen parents who hurt their children on purpose. You two are not that. But I've also seen young parents underestimate what it means to protect an infant. He paused. You nearly caused a medical emergency because you thought it would make a funny video. Alex lowered his head. Christina covered her mouth again. The judge continued. You need to understand that parenting isn't a performance. It isn't content. It's responsibility. And the internet cannot come before the well-being of a child. Then he adjusted his glasses. I will be issuing my decision next. Both of you need to be prepared for the possibility of temporary restrictions. The tension in the room sharpened instantly. Christina whispered, Please don't take him away. Alex's face drained of color. Judge Carter raised a hand gently. I haven't made my final ruling yet, but you must understand whatever I decide, it will be based on Liam's safety. He closed the file again. We'll take a short recess before I give my decision. And with that, the judge stood and left the bench, leaving Christina and Alex holding onto each other like the room might collapse under them. When we returned to the courtroom after the recess, everything felt different. Christina and Alex looked exhausted. Ms. Flores shuffled through her papers one last time. Even the bailiff stood a little straighter, as if expecting something serious. Judge Carter took his place, adjusted his robe, and spoke immediately. I have reviewed all testimonies, medical reports, the home assessment, and the statements from all parties involved. The room fell completely silent. He turned to the Millers. Young parents often make mistakes. Some are harmless. Some are not. This one could have had severe consequences. But I've also seen clear evidence that you love your son and that this incident was not intentional harm. Christina pressed a hand to her chest. Alex leaned forward like he couldn't breathe. The judge continued. Liam is healthy now. He recovered quickly. He appears well-attended, calm, and responsive. The concerns raised by the state are serious, but they do not rise to a level requiring removal from the home. Christina burst into quiet tears. Alex closed his eyes, but the judge lifted a hand. That does not mean there are no consequences. He looked directly at them. I am ordering supervised oversight for the next 3 months. This includes parenting classes, regular home visits, and a full prohibition on using Liam in any online content. Alex nodded immediately. We agree, Your Honor. Christina wiped her face. We'll do everything you ask. Judge Carter continued. You are required to maintain safe living conditions. All infant-related items, food, bottles, supplies, must be stored properly. No paint, no chemicals, no experimental materials. You must treat this child as a child, not as a concept for your audience. Christina nodded through tears. We understand. The judge looked at me and Ms. Flores. You will coordinate the supervision plan. Weekly check-ins for the first month, then bi-weekly. We both confirmed. Then Judge Carter gave the final words. The request to restrict parental rights is denied. Instead, the court imposes mandatory oversight for a limited period. If the parents show responsibility and compliance, supervision will be lifted. If they do not, the court will reconsider. He closed the file. This hearing is concluded. The sound of the gavel echoed across the room. Christina broke down completely, not from fear, but relief. Alex held her tightly, whispering something I couldn't hear. As everyone started to leave the courtroom, Christina caught my eye. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaky, but sincere. I didn't respond with anything dramatic. I just nodded. Because in my line of work, a child staying with parents who are willing to change, is as close to a happy ending as it gets.